You survived your workday, your rush hour commute, and you are ready to just kick back and unwind. Put your favorite slippers on, make your favorite drink, and join me, Kyng Kevyn, for the Cocktail Hour with Kyng Kevyn. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Kyng Kevyn. Welcome to the Cocktail Hour with Kyng Kevyn. I'm your host and your bartender, so grab your drink and let's get into it. I am super excited about tonight's show. I had opportunity to speak to our guest tonight, who she just dope. All right, our conversation leading up to this moment has been dope. She's done a lot of stuff. So let me give you an official introduction to my guest tonight. And that guest is none other than Audrey Nicole. Audrey Nicole is a new North Carolina. She has recently released her own book as a tell-all about her life and transition process entitled Broken Through Shattered Glass, which is available on Amazon and her website, which we will give you all those details in a little bit. So on top of that, Audrey is an author, an actress, and a model, and she's passionate about creating change for trans people and everyone that is a part of the LGBTQ plus community. She's working towards her tangible dream of becoming a household name. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome with me our guest for the Cocktail Hour, Miss Audrey Nicole.
Hi, Kyng Kevyn.
Hey, Audrey, how are you?
I am fantastic. I'm so honored and belated to be here. Thank you for having me.
I think I'm a little bit more excited, but thank you. I appreciate it. Before we get into our conversation, this is called the Cocktail Hour, which means that we need to have a drink. So, what you sipping on?
Baby, so I'm sipping on a little bubbly. It's called
Verdi.
Yeah.
I like Verdi. I think I may have had some of that in the kitchen. Actually, I should have grabbed some of that.
Listen, this is actually my first time drinking it, actually.
How do you like it?
I love it.
Lit. So I got a red wine, a Malbec, and a Malbec, excuse me, and it's Ame. That's how I'm going to pronounce it, Ame. And I'm going to pour me a little bit of a drink, and we're going to get started. We're going to do some red wine tonight.
Come on, red wine with the white wine. Let's get it.
Now, I don't want y'all to judge us if we just get a little comfortable with these drinks, y'all.
Okay, because listen, it's been a long week. I just got the girls, so.
Oh, you know we got to talk about that, right?
Yes. And I ain't had a drink since last week, too.
Very much needed. But so, cheers to you and the girls.
Thank you.
And that's my first sip of the night. Let's see if I can complete this bottle without falling over. All right. So it's almost hard to know where exactly to jump in. So like in the beginning of the show, I like to call this our open bar.
Yeah.
So a part of our open bar, we introduce our drinks. We introduce our special guests. And with that, we're going to jump right in. You are an actress, a model, and an author. So let's talk about modeling first.
Yes.
How about them apples?
All right, let's get into it.
How long have you been modeling?
I've been modeling as long as I can remember, about a good 3 or 4 years. And so I started off as RJ before I started transitioning into Audrey. So I started modeling as RJ back in 2012. Mm-hmm. I did my first runway debut with the Charlotte Film Festival here in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Nice.
And so I put my little spin and twist on things with that. I built a portfolio. I've modeled with our Carolina's Bridal Show in Concord twice. I did that show a lot. So I kind of ventured off in that, but I stopped. And then I picked back up modeling back in 2020 when I decided that I wanted to transition into Audrey. So I did my very first photo shoot back in 2021, which was back in May, for my book cover, actually.
Nice.
And yeah, so the photo that you see in the gray and black jumpsuit was part of my photo shoot. So that was pretty much the launch of Audrey Nicole that same day.
Literally, very lit.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'm going to
Are
get
you done? While you doing that, I'm going to
together
skip.
to where I ain't gonna have no technical difficulties on any show. Like my mic is falling over.
Listen, it wouldn't be a good show without some type of ordeal, okay? Wendy had
So
that all the time.
I was trying to move it out of the camera, but anyway. So my question I wanted to ask you about modeling is you said you stopped. Why did you stop? Was that a were you pushing to a position where you had to stop, or were you like, okay, I'm gonna give this a break for a minute, or what?
It was more of I didn't know where I wanted RJ at that time to go. I was still young in my early 20s, still trying to find myself. It was fun, but I guess at that point I didn't really want to put in the grunt work into being more seen. Because they always say if you want to be a model, sometimes you have to make some sacrifices. And at that time, I just didn't feel like in my life I really wanted to sacrifice enough to get to that ultimate goal. Because let's make it very, very clear. You know, you take a lot of work and a lot of money got to be spent into it that a lot of people don't really know. They say modeling can be free, yeah, if you look the part.
Right.
So if you don't look the part for them, you got to get yourself together, may have to spend a little cosmetic here, plump here, there, work out, whatever. And that costs money. Let's be realistic here.
Yes.
So, I just decided just to put a pause on it, focus on my career, figuring out like what I really wanted to do realistically, like a day job, like what I really want to do in my career. And then once I found that, and then I kind of came into myself a little bit more in my mid and late 20s. And then I found out like, hey, I don't want to be RJ no more. So there's no reason for me to even expand upon that. Let's focus on something different. And here's Audrey. So I picked right back up where I left off.
So it was like, so it sounded like you kind of like went into like a cocoon,
basically,
and then bloomed as this beautiful butterfly now.
Exactly.
Nice. Do you feel like you were limited, or like that there were certain restrictions placed on people who's lived trans experiences when it comes down to like modeling and acting and things like that?
Of course. I feel like anybody in the LGBTQIA plus community, I feel like has been limited, especially in Hollywood, because they don't want to see our culture, our community on television, because they automatically assume that we try to brainwash people, and that's not the case. And so being able to see MJ Rodriguez and able to see T.S. Madison on those big screens, those are like one of my inspirations. Yes. That I actually get to see someone like myself, especially being a Black woman of trans experience on Hollywood television. That's a big milestone for anybody.
Yes,
we got to see Kinga Maya Scott play on Star.
Let's talk about award winning too. MJ Rodriguez.
Yes.
Award winning. Not only is it a person of color, but it's a woman of color of trans experience who mainstream TV and won awards. Like, big shout out to MJ Rodriguez for that one. And obviously, I'm just going to speak it into existence. Soon we're going to be seeing some Audrey Nicole up there too, because she's killing it.
I'm trying. Listen, I'm trying to be like that.
Look, keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing.
Thank you. It definitely gives me the strength and the courage to really want to break more barriers, especially here in the South. You don't really see too many Charlotte native Black women of trans experiences pushing to do, more than what people expect us to do, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So I just want to just sit here and break barriers, figure out what are those obstacles that I can come across and that I can hop over to be able to bring more awareness to our community. I feel like we don't get enough limelight or the proper education for people to really understand where we come from.
I always said that there's definitely a disconnect from, like, we talk about the LGBT community or QIA plus community all the time. And like, and I don't really want to exclude anybody, but I'm going to disconnect the QIA plus and I'm going to disconnect the LGB, and let's focus on the T real quick. Because people with trans experience have always been marginalized, especially those of color. And I feel like one of the reasons why is because we have not humanized the experience. I feel like a lot of the times it's like, oh, it's them over there, a part of, instead of it's us and our community. And that's one of the reasons why I really appreciate people like you, Dominique Jackson, and Angelica Ross, who steps outside of what people say you should do and make bold statements and bold moves and do it unapologetically. So that matters to me so much because it humanizes. It's not just a caricature. Like I appreciate what RuPaul has done in our community years and years and years, but drag and someone with trans experience is totally different. And to see our community, not just entertainment, but our community thriving and winning, that is always a win for me. You winning is my win. So thank you.
Thank you. I couldn't have said that better myself. Okay. So don't you?
No, you read my mind. I'm aiming to get through this bottle, so I need to drink up.
Listen, I see.
Okay. So we talked about you as a model, but now I think one of the bigger topics for me, because we kind of like segue into it already, is you are an actress and you've been doing your work as an actress. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the little clip we were going to play in a second. And after we play the clip, you can give us a little more details about your character, the series, and all. I saw on your Instagram that you said that it started as a series, but you guys are family now.
Yeah.
So let's play that clip real quick for you guys, and then after that, we're going to get back into this conversation. We're going to break it down.
Oh, my bad. I ain't even see you there. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Little bitch.
What did you call me?
What?
I said, what did you call me?
What are you talking about, sir?
I thought I heard you say little bitch. But I can show you a little bitch, so what's up?
No one called you that. But what you can do, though, is go up there and purchase your little item.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So, first off, what y'all didn't see while that was playing was Audrey over here lipping the lines with all the character and attitude. So tell me, Audrey, tell me about your character. Who is she? What's happening? Let me know.
I'm sorry, the weirdo gets me every time. Like that is like my favorite part.
Me too.
Weirdo. Okay, so my character name is Riri.
Mm-hmm.
Riri, she is very rambunctious. She is very out there, outgoing, but she will steal any man and any woman that she may please. She doesn't care if it's your man, his man, her man, his girl, her girl, whoever, and she will not stop until she gets what she wants. And it's so ironically because when I look at like at my past life, I was her. You know, I was rambunctious. I was out there. I was a couple of people's side boos or sneaky links, as they call it.
Mm-hmm.
And I never thought about it actually being my real life until I actually played that character in Hopeless Romantic. Yeah, shout out to the directors and the writers.
Yeah, so tell me about the series. Like, so we know who Riri is. You gave us a good, and I do want to talk about how you and Riri connect a lot more. But I want to know about the series in general. Who's the writers? How did you get involved? Yeah, you can take the floor.
Yes. So the writers are Clover Ford. She is the executive producer and the head writer of Hopeless Romantic. We have Haley, and then we have our other director, Tish, as well as, I'll make sure I named her correctly. I forgot the other writer's name. Don't kill me. It's a lot of names to remember. I'm very horrible with names, but I love them all. But they all came together and wrote this beautiful script so effortlessly. I found Hopeless Romantic actually on TikTok. So I was scrolling through my For You page, and the like beginning of the Hopeless Romantic kind of sequel and the instruments came in the background. I was like, I may want to audition for that. And I just, I saved it and I just kept scrolling, and I exited out and I came back in and it popped up again. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to message them on TikTok. Didn't hear anything. So I followed them on Instagram. I was like, hey, my name is Audrey. I saw your post on TikTok and I really want to audition. And so she set me up with the interview. It was Clover, Haley, and Tish were all there. And so I auditioned for Riri, and they was like, okay, we want to, give you an email at the end of the day, and we'll let you know if you got the part. And I got the part. So the rest was history after that.
How much of the series have you guys gotten through? How much do we have to look forward to?
So we are actually done filming all of season one. Season one, episode 1 through 4 is already out. So episode 5 actually airs on Thursday on YouTube.
Nice.
Yes.
So you got to make sure you let us know where we can go and support that as well. Because we want to see more Riri. Because that was
okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and put a little damper there. Riri was only shown, Riri was only shown in 3 episodes. But you never know, she may be back.
Right.
So maybe season 2.
Okay. Yeah, because we're going to need to see some more Riri. We definitely want to see more Riri.
Riri caused a little ruckus enough for y'all to go ahead and get a little sip of her.
But we always like that person who, started a little shit.
Oh, she was a drama. She was a drama head, yes. And she caused it just enough for y'all to get a little simmer in there. When she did her little thing and she exit out.
Right. Before we continue, I definitely want to give a shout out to Christopher Weaver, who happens to serve as both of our publicists, and I know he's watching. So one, thank you for the connection and allowing us to meet up and connect with one another. And also, actually, Chris is going to be a guest on the show. So that our first show in April will be we'll be sitting down with Mr. Christopher Weaver, who is also an entertainer, and he does a lot of work behind the scenes to keep both of us working. So thank you, Chris.
We love you, Chris.
Love you. So you were talking about Riri and how she reminds you of you.
Yes.
In what ways do you connect with the character now that you've matured into the woman that you are today?
Besides being a side chick, because that was my old life, we ain't gonna talk about the past. We're gonna be the past first. She was very driven, she was very out there personality wise. Mm-hmm. She was very flirtatious, and that kind of brings back my personal personality. Like, I'm very flirty and cheerful and happy, I'll fling my hair here and there, yes. Give you a little side wink or something. But it just embodied me as who I am naturally. Like, I didn't have to put on an act or channel her in any way, shape, or form. That was just truly who Audrey is. Like, when you watch episode 1 through 3, you will see Audrey is Riri. That was really me. I didn't put on or anything. I was just myself. Ready to throw a curse when I need to. Ready to call somebody a weirdo if I need to. So
Riri lives deep down on the inside of you. So when you need to channel Riri, you just go dig her up. Like, okay, listen, y'all was taking Audrey for granted, and Riri gonna come over and show y'all some stuff.
Period.
Got it. So I also want to talk about a couple other projects that you were in, though, like Family Over Everything.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Oh, so I got to play a character today, Jade, and I never played a cashier ever in my life. I mean, besides working at McDonald's, but that's besides the point. It was cool. It was interesting because I never played as a character, like a cashier, I guess. Okay. In a web series or a short film, as I should say, because it was definitely a short film, not a web series. It was really, really good, by the way. And it was cool to still be myself. I didn't really have to change who I was to be a character. It was really everything authentically. Jade was who I was. Nosy, because she liked to be in everybody's business. She liked to be like, ooh, child, who, what? Now you got to give me all the tea. Like, that's me. Like, the fashion outfits, the dresses galore. That was me. That was, again, just being Audrey authentically with another name. If I could pull out different names for every character I played, that was literally me.
That's good, though. I like it when I can connect with, so I've done my little share of acting as well. Mm-hmm. And I think people know me most as Venom, the adult entertainer, which doesn't require much acting. But I've also done the web series I created, Mama's Boy, where I played Dante. And now Dante was the opposite of Kevin. And the polar opposite of Venom.
How? Explain.
So, Venom, actually, in Mama's Boy, I think it was episode 8 or 9, there's a scene where I'm playing both Dante and Venom. in the same scene together, like opposite each other. So that part was kind of fun. But then there was another series I was a part of called Bait that was produced by Arthur Lee Hayes.
Okay.
And I had a really short role. It was just like a cameo spot, but my character's name was Marcus. And Marcus got on this app called Bait. And he met up with this guy, and the guy was a lunatic. Locked him in the basement, chained him up, fed him dog food, sprayed him down with the hose. It was a really dark series, but I'm bringing all that up to say how I was able to connect with those characters because Dante, Venom, and Marcus, and most of the roles that I played are all vastly different. But I agree with you that on some level, I was still able to find Kevin on the inside of those characters because Marcus was a hoe.
Oh,
I'll drink to that.
Oh.
And then there is another. Wait, I don't know. Lost my notes. I'm sorry. There was another series that you was in called Life Changes. What was your experience with that?
I can definitely say it changed my life in so many ways. And here's why. I was the very first character that I know of, so that I'm just speaking hypothetically for me, to transition on a show.
Wow.
Yeah. So my character was named Nico, and it was called Nico/Nicole, which I actually told him to change the last name because my second name was something totally different.
Right.
And I started off as RJ
Right.
before I started my transition, but it was Nico. My parents were very religious, very emotional, physical, mentally abusive.
Wow.
I was a college student, had two best friends, Brianna and Naya. We both went to the same college, and I was just trying to navigate through life and trying to really find out who Nicole really was. And then I told them like, hey, I'm about to start my transition. And so they embodied that into my character.
That's
so
awesome.
That was my very first transitioning role from boy to girl on camera.
I like that story. And honestly, that's a great tie into RJ to Audrey. It's a great transition into you discovering yourself. I want to start to talk about your book and what led you to writing your book. And like you mentioned the transition on camera, how does that reflect your real life story? Because like, did you grow up with a religious family? You're from the South. Did that play a role in how long it took you to wake up and say, you know what? I'm not living for nobody else anymore. I'm going to do me.
Let me take a big drink to that.
While you're doing that, let me just set it up because I think any human being has that aha moment when you wake up and you start to realize who you are as a person. Doesn't matter what your gender identity is, your sexual identity, your ethnic identity. None of that matters. We all, as human beings, have that moment where we wake up and say, this is who I really am. This is what, like, people force feed us what we're supposed to like, what we're supposed to say, how we're supposed to dress and carry ourselves. And it's not really reflective of who we are. So now with you, where's the similarity? Like, where did RJ say, you know what? This is not who I am, and it's time to evolve into the butterfly that I need to be.
Period. So we just gonna go ahead and set the timestamp for July 27th, 2020. So we're just gonna leave that timestamp there. So just keep looking on that. Growing up in the 90s, I grew up in a very religious household. I found out my dad was a pastor when I was around about 16, 17, 18. That was around about 2010.
You said you found out your dad was a pastor?
Mm-hmm.
How did
so
you
my
find
dad
out?
wasn't, my mom and my dad divorced when I was 3.
Got it.
So I didn't have a really stable relationship with him growing up.
Mm-hmm.
He just did his own little thing, and I was in my own little world with my mom and my stepdad, who is my father. That I grew up with him, like that's my dad. And so I always knew that I was a girl on the inside at a very, very young age. In my book, I talk about it around about 5 or 6, I knew that I was different, but 8 pretty much solidified like, yeah, something's wrong. I feel weird. I don't talk or act or even embody anything little boys do. I was more gravitated to the girlier things, what girls did, hair and makeup and dress up. My mom knew when I was like 2 or 3 that for one, I was going to be gay, but she never knew I was going to be transgendered. But she's like, yeah, he's going to be funny, and I actually wrote that in the book too. So as I got older, I started experimenting with different things with boys, and my attraction for them grew. So
I kind of
when
want
I
to go
got
on because I'm sorry, because I don't want to get you too far here because there was something I wanted to talk about as you were, because you said you started seeing signs and things like at 5, 6, 7, 8. When we're that young, we don't understand sexuality.
we don't.
So did you even connect that I'm even born in the wrong body, or I don't identify with the body that I'm living in?
I
Like
did actually, but I
you
didn't
were, so you were
know.
aware the whole time of who you were. That's
But I just
awesome.
didn't know how to express it because I was conditioned not to really talk about it.
Mm,
So I really couldn't come to my mom like I wanted to because I really didn't know how she would react. Really couldn't contact to my dad because my dad and I never had a real stable relationship. Couldn't come to my stepfather because again, I just didn't know
right.
what my family reaction would be. I grew up with, 2 older siblings that I barely kept, a relationship with growing up because they were way older than me. And
Okay.
so, my older sister became like a second mom. So it was more like we still had a disconnect. Like we didn't have a brotherly or a sisterly bond as siblings. It was more
Okay.
like, I'm the older sibling, you're the baby, I'm basically like your child at that point.
Oh wow.
But I knew in my heart and in my soul that I was born in the wrong body. Like wasn't supposed to be a boy. Like I feel like in my afterlife, I was a fierce Black woman somewhere in a
Yes.
corporate office with red
Yes.
bottoms on,
Yes.
sashaying her life away.
That's
And
you manifesting who you really are.
right. And I felt like that was literally me. Like there'd be times
Right.
like that is me. Like where is she? But through it all, it was a lot of like trial, tribulations, a lot of suicidal thoughts.
Wow.
I tried to commit suicide multiple times. Yeah.
Girl, you dropping a lot on me right now.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I can't like go past that and not talk about that. One, that is a really soft spot to me. For multiple reasons. I have never committed. I don't think that I've even attempted, excuse me. I never attempted. Um, I've never really contemplated it. I think there was only one time where the thought flew across my mind, but it was something like it wasn't even like, oh, the world's coming to an end. Let me but this January I lost a child to suicide. Um and literally a few days ago, Sunday, I was doing my Sunday show, the Great Mind Show with Stoney, and Stoney revealed that he multiple times had attempted, and then another really good close friend of mine actually attempted it, and he survived, thank God. But on the outside looking in, it's so quick for people to point their finger and talk about how selfish you are and demonize you, but to be in the mind of someone who is living it and don't want to, it's a totally different story. I'm not glorifying it on any level, but I think that we should definitely take the time to understand those people who feel that way, because there are a lot of us who deal with that. And then
Yeah.
to all the intersectionalities of who you are as a Black trans woman growing up so young and beautiful, might I add, it's like outside on the shelves, like, yeah, everything's fine, but deep down within, there are things that you're going through that people don't know. How did you overcome that stuff?
I don't even know. I can't even really answer that question honestly because no one knew. Nobody knew. And I really stress mental health a lot now as an
Yes.
adult because in the Black community, we don't even speak about mental health. Anything regarding feelings or anything regarding someone less than because they speak about their feelings, we throw it under the rug like it's nobody's business. We have so many secrets and skeletons that it's we could probably build our own country by now. But we don't talk
Yes.
about those things. And I've held it in with laughter, with just being fun and outgoing and trying to be myself, but not really being myself because I really wasn't myself.
Right.
So I played this role for almost 18 years, almost half of my life.
Wow.
Yeah. If you want to count the 20s, heck, 2 decades full of my life.
Yeah.
Until I said enough was enough. And then when I wrote my book, all the people like from high schools and teachers, they was like, oh my God, Audrey, I never knew. I was like, I know, because I held it very well. But trust me, when I got home, there were times I tried to suffocate myself with pillows or,
Wow.
try to hang myself. It was a lot. It was a lot to bear on a kid and have no one to go, nowhere to turn, no one to talk to. You just had to deal with it.
I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad that we've met and that we're connected now. Because you got me, sis.
Thank you.
You got me, seriously. So you mentioned your book, and this, I guess this is a good segue into that because you wrote some letters,
Yes.
and in one of your letters, you were talking about how you had to experiment with different things to find out who you really were.
Yes.
What are some of the things that you experimented with? If you could talk about that, I heard that you was an open book.
Oh, but I am. Okay. So I will bring up this particular incident. I was 6 years old and I was in elementary school. We was on the playground. It was me, girls, boys. It was just a little collective of friends at the time. And we just showed our body parts. Like I was one of those type of kids.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that one. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I didn't care. So I was just like,
right up my alley.
Let's go. And so the girls started showing their things and the boys started, and I'm just like, oh.
And I'm in the middle because I feel like both.
No, I didn't want that. I didn't want the girls. I was looking at the boys. I didn't care about them. I just wanted them there so I didn't feel awkward. Cause I didn't want I'm a boy. I didn't want to. I was already being called sissies and punks as it is.
Right.
I try to make it more easier on me because I already knew that I like guys, but I never really experimented with one until I turned 8. So that was my very first kind of experiment with the guy at a Christmas party or boy at a Christmas party. It was fun, might I add.
I'll bet it was.
It was. We about got caught. Yes. I had to push them off because the door started to open.
I was telling a story. It's not this story isn't in my book, but I was telling a story to someone recently about I didn't realize that I was gay when I was that age. Mm-hmm. There were things that I would do, but I didn't think of it as being gay. Mm-hmm. My mom had a friend who had a son, and we were around the same age. And it was like, okay, so obviously the boys got to go to the bathroom, send them to the bathroom. So he and I would go to the bathroom together. And we would do our thing, and we wouldn't just put everything away. We would start touching. I'm like, okay. I didn't know what that was, though. I didn't consider myself gay. And then when I got into liking other people, I was attracted to girls, and I never even thought about all of the things that I did was suggestively gay. Mm-hmm. So the fact that you were aware, girl, you got that, because I had no clue. And then when I actually woke up and realized who I really was, like, okay, that was gay. That was gay. That was gay. That was gay. Damn, Kevin, you gay.
Oh yeah, I knew. I'm telling you, I knew. I just knew I did not like the girls, but I had to. I had to play like I did, and I mean, I did like some pretty girls. I mean, they're pretty now. But trying to vividly picture me with the female, I always pushed friends. It's like, oh, my name was Ronald back then. It was like, oh, Ronald, you're so cute, but you're a friend. I'm just like, no.
They friend zoned you?
They friend zoned me like it was yesterday's dinner. I was just like, and it was so passive aggressive that I was like, okay, girl, we can be good Judies and we can talk about all the cute boys together. So since we're not even gonna be together, let's just talk about the guys. How about that? How about that? But I
So,
think my very first friend I actually told I was gay. Her name was Christine Foreman. I will never forget this.
hmm,
We had chorus class together. It was seventh grade, and we just clicked. We were just like in sync with each other. She was very oddly, I was oddly, but we just clicked. And so I told her, she was the very first girl I ever told. I was like, Christine, I think I might be gay. And she was like, really? I was like, yeah. I was like, but I always knew that I was and because I had like the biggest crush on her brother.
oh
And she
wow.
was like, yeah, he ain't cute no more. But that's besides the point. Uh, but I was like, yeah, I really think I am. But none of the transition thoughts didn't really like transpire into high school. And that's in
So
the book too.
let's talk about this book. The book is called Broken Through Shattered Glass.
Yes.
Tell me, how did you get to that title first?
Oh, can I show the book? Is it? Can I
Yes,
show it?
yes, of
Okay.
course. Feels
So,
good.
yes. So,
Yes. Oh, that looks so good.
Broken Through a Shattered Glass was actually supposed to be a web series. Actually.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So, the backstory about the web series was I played a brief series called Queen City Secrets. So, we did like 2 episodes and we never get to finish the season. And I played this therapist called Preston. So I was going to take my actual character from that web series and make it about RJ. So I
Okay.
was still going to play Preston, but in RJ form. And
Nice.
so RJ at that point was very, very promiscuous, had a lot of holes, excuse my language, but had a lot of them. And finally looked up and found the man of his dreams. But little does the man of his dreams know that he was still doing all types of things while he was on business trips. So all of RJ's exes started to pop up. You know, he got to a heated argument with his future husband. His first physical assault with his husband that actually
Wow.
happened in my life. One of the people I messed with raped me. So I was going to talk about that in that web series, but I just never took the opportunity to kind of put it all together.
Hmm.
So when I decided to write my book, by the help of my best friend, by the way, I decided to take that title and just use it as my book. And
Okay.
so, as you can see, the picture is broken,
Yes.
and that was the young me.
Got it.
And then you have Audrey, who has come through these broken glasses to be the woman that you see today.
So I think the story of how you got to the title is awesome. Does it have any like those words specifically, broken through a shattered glass? Does that have any specific significance to you personally? Like the broken glass, and like what does that mean specifically to you?
A lot of broken fragments in my life, from an absentee father, from the mental anguish, the bullying,
Mm,
um, the low self-esteem that a lot of people don't really know about. Like I had very, very low self-esteem about myself. I never found myself attractive as a guy. I never really thought I was hyper masculine. I've always tried to build myself out of a block that I put myself into,
mm,
as well as what the community put me into. I was sheltered, lost, confused. All of these broken pieces were just slowly cracking from an imperfect mirror.
wow.
And then once it just shattered in July of 2020, I just broke. Like I
Wow.
just broke. And that
Have
was
you have you
hmm?
ever heard of like Chinese pottery, or the concept of like basically when like if you had a pot or some type of china or something that breaks, instead of them discarding it, they use practically gold instead of like glue, and you'll see like seams of gold through shattered glass. that's how I see you, and that's how I see life for you. It's kind of like you were whole at one point, and life whooped your ass. I'm not gonna lie, it whoops all of our ass from time to time. But you were able to take those things and create such a beautiful piece of art with the broken glass. Because what I see when I look at the book cover and I see the young RJ and I see you staring at yourself like broken, but I'm still together. I'm holding it together even still, despite all of everything that I've been through. And that's the strength that I see illuminating from you. Look at that smile. Like, seriously, that's what I see. So I want you to, I don't know if you've done this. So in my book, whenever someone would buy a book, or at least with my first 100 copies, I would sign it with a very specific note to people before I sent it to them. And at one point, I was thinking to myself, like, I'm writing all these notes to all these other people. In my copy of the book, I wrote myself a note, reminding myself that when times get hard, look at what I accomplished. How many people do I know who's going on the path that I went through, who's able to do the things that I've done? And it's not a comparison, but it's to say, you know what, Kevin, you got this. You're good. Even if the time looks hard right now, and sorry for being preachy, not sorry. But Audrey, it's the same thing for you. You gotta always keep that in mind when you get those hard spots, or when people try to remind you of the craziness and the shit that you've been through in the past. Like, yeah, I've been through that, broken, but I'm healed.
Don't make me cry on live now. I'm trying to be cute, and you trying to make me cry, and I'm super emotional too.
No, but it's real because we all go through so much, and like what I went through was super traumatic for me, but I overcame it. But my experiences don't equate what you went through, and it doesn't, like, what you went through don't invalidate my experiences, but I do need to validate yours because you're healed today. You're here today, especially with the suicide attempts, especially with people trying to tear you down, especially with the family situation, sometimes feeling alone, the abuse that but you're still here.
Amen.
You feel me?
I feel you. And it's so liberating, to be able to overcome all of those broken pieces and to finally be made whole. Because I really want to alliterate on that. I really do. Because you did say that I was whole. But I really was like, really though? Was I really whole? Or did I look whole?
So let me say this. we're gonna have a little therapy session right now. All right?
Let's do it.
So yes, you were whole. I think we all come into this world whole. And over time, life begins to break us down. And miraculously, or I don't know the word I want to use, but for some reason, no matter how much we've been broken, you realize that all the pieces were still there. They just weren't together.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't realize all of the pieces, you're still whole. Got your body, you got your mind, your emotions, your spirit, you got your, all your personality, all those things are still there. A lot of times we just hide those things because they've been bruised. They're still there, but why would I keep exposing to myself to someone that's going to keep abusing it? So instead of me showing that side of me, I tuck it inside of me. And I feel like that's how you survive until you got to a place where you could actually let those places shine in you.
Amen.
So yeah, I will say that you started off whole.
Okay. I actually like that. Okay, I'll let you have that one. I'm a little stick to that one. Yes.
Listen, all right. So, in case you didn't know, for those viewers who are watching who don't know, I live by 3 E's: to entertain, to educate, and empower. If you encounter me and don't experience one of those 3 things, I didn't do my job.
You did all 3 in the first 45 minutes. Okay.
Yep.
You educated and empowered me. Yeah. And entertained.
Well, thank you. With that, I don't want to lose this opportunity. I really, 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 really want you to tell us about your book. Tell us what we can expect in the book. Tell us what you want people to pull from your experience, and then tell us where we can find and purchase this book.
Okay. So Broken Through a Shattered Glass is my personal memoir of things that I've gone through in my childhood, adolescence, and how I became the woman that I am today. You will see series of letters that I've written to specific loved ones that either both positively and negatively impacted my life in some way, shape, or form. You get to learn bits and pieces of my life involving the church life, suicide attempts, bullying from my own community, all while holding everything together and to figure out who Audrey really was and how Audrey became the woman that she is today. You can purchase Broken Through a Shattered Glass on Amazon and on Kindle.
Nice. So now we get to talk about our experience in writing and publishing a book, because we both recently released a book not too long
And
ago.
we did. And we did. Congrats.
We did, yes, which I take to be a great accomplishment, and I know that you're proud of what you were able to accomplish, because again, a lot of people don't do what you did.
No.
What are the struggles?
Honestly, just finding the baseline template into what you want to write. I always knew that I wanted to write a book, but I never had a plan. And when I did have a plan, I never had a foundation. And so when I had, again, the title, I was like, okay, I have a title now, but what do I want to do with it? Do I want to make it into a web series or a short film, or do I want to make it into a book? Well, I really didn't have a foundation for the web series, but I have a foundation for a book.
Right.
And so, ironically, it only took me 3 months because,
Wow.
yeah, literally, it took me 3 months because I had a lot to say.
I wish I would have got mine done in 3 months. I started my book in December. I think I finished writing in April, which was still kind of quick for a book.
Yeah.
But I had a lot of hard spots where it's like I was getting writer's block. I started talking in circles, which I tend to do anyway. And I mean, then there's the whole process of like the editing, finding the design for the cover, formatting the book. Like, what was your journey? Because mine, I'm not gonna say it was a nightmare, because I did have help. I'm not gonna lie, I did have help. But for it to be my first book, I was like really nervous about this whole process. Like, am I forgetting something? Did I mess up? What about you?
It was very, I won't say difficult, but it was very taskful, to say the least.
Yes.
Yeah, because I didn't have an editor either. Like I had to search for one, and one of my dearest friends gave me like a contact to reach out to.
Mm-hmm.
And so my first editor was Sheila Goodwin. She is partnered with her husband in Crucifix Production, and she decided to take on the task because she doesn't edit books normally. She does her own work, but she decided to take my project in and help, format it and get it all together. And so she did that part of the process. And then my photographer, Rochelle Jackson, I had a vision specifically of how I wanted my book to look. And she was able to bring that vision to life. So thank you to her. And so once the book was actually published in July, we had to do some revamping. Mm-hmm. And that's where our guru of a publicist came in and put his magical twist and stuff in there. And
yes,
we set it out to release again for the second time. And I did a book showing for that. So it was a process. And right. A lot of people that write books, unless you have, a team behind you and you're not solo, then if you're solo, it's a process. It's costly, it's time, it's money, a lot of money.
Yes.
But if you're very dedicated into your craft and into your baby is what you want to call it. Some people call it baby, some people call it their treasure, whatever.
Yeah.
You would take that time to really mold it to where you really want it to be that final piece of the puzzle. And my Broken Shattered Glass was my book. And so once I revamped it, so it took time. It took time, a lot of test trials, a lot of good professional criticism from a lot of my buyers. I took those feedbacks, I pulled it off the shelves. I went to, to Chris and was like, hey, there's certain pieces here that we may need to revamp again. And so we took it into the laboratory. We did what we had to do. We released it again.
Nice.
That didn't work. We pulled it back out and we did some more and we released it again. I literally released the book 3 times.
I released mine one time. And actually, Chris and I were talking about doing a re-release of my book, and a lot for the same reason. So I like what the message that I get from what you're saying is like, it's okay if you pull it back and do it again. Like, you want it to be right. It's your story.
Of course.
your experiences, and you want people to get the message that you live and that you want to convey. So that is awesome. Now you told us that we can find it on Amazon. It's on, so the physical copy is on Amazon, and you can get the Kindle version.
Correct.
So I just want to read the title again. It's called "Broken Through a Shattered Glass," with Audrey Nicole. Or so I also see Audrey Teeter. So can they look you up under Audrey Teeter, or is it just strictly Audrey Nicole?
Well, I took my name off, and that's for personal reasons. So I don't use my last name.
Okay.
So for professional reasons, as I go by Audrey Nicole, because it's its own brand, it's Audrey Nicole. So Audrey Teeter is actually on the. I can't change it unless I put everything off and start from scratch all over again. So Audrey Teeter is embedded into the book. So you can type in Audrey Teeter, I believe, on Amazon, and it should pop up my book. But if not, then Broken Through a Shattered Glass will definitely pop it up. Most definitely.
Oh, coolness. Also, my next question is, how can people find you? Maybe they want to follow you on social media and get in contact with you. What's the best ways for them to do that?
Yes. So for starters, y'all, whoever y'all message, and if you follow me, it's me. I don't have no social media gurus behind me saying, hey, y'all, it's actually me. But you can follow me on Facebook. I go by Audrey Nicole on Facebook, as well as Instagram. So it's 3_ Audrey Nicole. If you have TikTok, you can follow me there, 3_ Audrey Nicole. And on Twitter as well. I keep it simple. See, very simple. I don't like to change up everything. I like to keep everything consistent.
Makes sense.
So, you can find me on Twitter as well with 3_ Audrey Nicole. If you message me, I 9 times out of 10 message you back. Unless you're a creeper, then I will definitely block you and you won't hear from me. But I'm very social on all of my social media. It's me. Like I said, it's the real me. I'm no catfish. So if you message me, I will respond back in a timely fashion. Just don't be a creep, because I would definitely.
The block button works.
Wholeheartedly. Wholeheartedly.
Listen, this hour has gone by way too fast.
And we just got started.
I know. We got to chat again real soon. So we definitely have to bring you back on.
We do, because we ain't getting to the love line. We ain't getting to none of that. You ain't get to the juicy part.
All right, wait. How much time do we have? We got 5 minutes. We got 5 minutes. Give me something juicy. We got to have something juicy. Give me something. Wait, let me pour me another glass while you're talking.
Oh, God. Okay. So since we want to talk about that aspect, I know a lot of people always speculate, like, how is dating for a woman a trans experience? And, they get into that whole sidebar topic. When do you disclose? Hear that? All the rim and ram of, we get that. We do. I've actually talked about it on my podcast a lot. So, Your
podcast?
Yes.
What's your podcast? Oh, my gosh. I'm missing out on good stuff.
So I have a podcast called Keeping It Real with Audrey and Trez. Me and my best friend of 15 plus years started a podcast back in 2018. Yeah. So we kind of, we do it seldomly. We're not regular anymore because we have lives, we work. I do my own thing. He does his own thing. So, but every very blue moon we'll pop up and be like, hey, let's get you up, stuff like that. But we actually we talked about, me starting my transition and, answering the hard questions that people don't want to talk about. But I decided to talk about it because we were raw and unfiltered. Okay.
So that's how we're gonna do this. I want to do this real quick, like rapid fire, just so we can get through the next 4 minutes, real quick. So, how do I want to do this? Because I do want to talk about what is it like to date as a trans woman. Like, I can imagine that it's easily fetishized, but what are your experiences in like 20 seconds or less? Sorry.
A roller coaster.
There we go.
Basically. That's what it is.
Are you currently in a relationship? I'm getting into the deep stuff now, or the good juicy stuff.
I am. I'm happily in a loving, committed relationship. Me and my partner have been together going on 3 years, and Cortez is his name. So Cortez knew me as RJ before I transitioned. So he got to meet 2 different people, and it's been the best experience I could ever ask for.
How has his support helped you, or him loving you, or being there with you? How's that helped you throughout all of this? Because there's the personal Audrey, and then it's the public Audrey.
I was trying not to cry because this is, oh my God.
We might have to go a little bit longer than an hour.
Yeah, because it's gonna make me emotional thinking about it. He loved me more than I love myself.
Wow.
And he saw me when I couldn't see myself. So my broken glass was put whole when I met him.
Okay. We love a good love story, especially somebody that loves you through your transition. And that's not just an outward transition, that's an inward transition, because that was a journey.
It was.
Cortez. Thank you, Cortez. We love you, Cortez, for that.
Love
Thank
you,
you.
honey. That's husband right there, honey. All we gotta do is get the ring. We out there. You invited to the
I
wedding.
love that. I love that. So we didn't gotta talk about like trying to meet up, because I think one of the hard things in our community is like dating and sex life and all that stuff. It's so much more satisfying when we have a partner, someone that we can trust and genuinely love, and they genuinely love us.
Yes.
I'm happy for you.
It's the black love for me.
It is. It's the black love.
Yes.
Completely. We have to wrap this show up. Oh my gosh. Remember, you can go on to Amazon and Kindle, well, which is part of Amazon, to get your copy of I'm mad I keep doing this. Broken Through a Shattered Glass by Audrey Nicole. While you're at it, A Life of Lust, Memoirs of the Porn.
Go ahead and show the book, boo. Go ahead and show the book.
My copy right here.
Zoom into it. Get into it. Bam.
Get your copy of my book. So mine's a little bit more specific. You have to buy the physical copy on my website, but it is available on Kindle through Amazon. Do us a favor, not just myself, but do both. And that's my website right there on the bottom of the screen. Make sure you go check it out. There's a couple of things on it that will be interesting to check out. But when you guys go onto Amazon and you go to purchase both mine and Audrey's book, because you're going to purchase both of them, thank you very much. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Leave us a review.
Yes,
Go
it's
on
not
there.
hard.
Those reviews really help us out, so that Amazon will continue to push her book and my book so other people can see and get the messages that we've put in our stories. So make sure you guys go and do that. We have to wrap it up. This drink has been good. Our conversation has been good. This has been the last call for the Cocktail Hour with Kyng Kevyn, with my special guest, Audrey Nicole. It has been amazing. Thank you so much for being with me.
Thank you, Kev. Again, listen, I am down for a part 2, baby, because you only scratched the surface. We ain't got to the juicy part yet, baby. My life is a whole movie. I'm just saying.
Use this now. I got an idea. So after we end the live, let's chat. I got another idea for you. And we're going to keep this going. Okay, all right, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that every time I go live, whether it be for the Cocktail Hour or the Great Mind Show, you will get a notification. If you're on Facebook, go over to YouTube and subscribe so that way you can continue to join. Can you put Audrey's social media up again so that people can follow Audrey? Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Go follow right now. Show your support. We love you. Again, this has been the Cocktail Hour with Kyng Kevyn, and we'll see you again next Tuesday.
Bye.